Hi, today on Free Field Training, it being New Year's Eve, people are sending me links over on the Instagram. There's a link to my Instagram down below. They're sending me PMs and links about people shooting straight up in the air New Year's and 4th of July. Apparently, there was a Mythbusters episode where they talked about if you shoot straight up in the air, the bullet can't possibly gain enough velocity coming down in order for it to hurt anyone, which is garbage. And here's why. See, your average person that's shooting up in the air, they are not shooting straight up in the air. See, if they were shooting straight up in the air, what would happen, and what happened in their little demonstration, was that the bullet went all the way up, using the kinetic energy that the bullet got when it was being forced out of the barrel by the charge inside the cartridge, and it would reach a particular altitude. I'm not a super huge math whiz, so I am not going to sit here and try to calculate the altitude for you. But it goes up pretty high. And then, once it reaches the top of where it can go using the kinetic energy coming out of the barrel, it runs out of energy. It has no more. So it begins to fall. And when that bullet falls, and it's going straight down again, gravity is working on the bullet, pulling it down, and there's air resistance pushing up on the bullet. So even if it's pointing round nose down, or a rifle bullet pointing Spitzer point down, the resistance pushing up on the bullet is going to be a whole bunch. It's going to be enough that it's going to keep gravity from accelerating the bullet to the point where it should be able to kill someone. This is all well and good. In a vacuum, this would be different. The bullet would go up and it would come down with the same speed and therefore the same energy that it went up with. So shooting straight up in the air, say on the moon, theoretically, it should come down roughly at about the same amount of, lethal potential as it would if you just shot point blank at someone. Air resistance makes this not happen on Earth. Well, that's great, except our person shooting up in the air, half the time is drunk, the other half the time, completely scientifically illiterate. People put stuff on the internet saying, oh, no, that doesn't really work like that. I'm here to tell you, I've seen it work like that. Not exactly like that, though. Problem is, people aren't shooting straight up in the air. They're shooting like this. They're shooting off at angles. They're shooting at the water tower. They're shooting at the light pole. They're shooting over their neighbor's house. They're shooting at trees. They're shooting at the sign that's rotating on the gas stations. I know I'm showing my age there, but the signs used to rotate gas stations. They'd shoot at those, and they'd miss, and it would go flying past. So what you have isn't a situation where the bullet goes up, gets to the top of its kinetic energy, and then falls back down again. What you have is like this. You have the barrel of the gun, and the bullet is shooting like that, and it is coming down. So what's happening here is, in the barrel of the gun, this bullet is getting the kinetic energy. And it's only expending a certain amount of that kinetic energy going up in the air. It's not expending all of it. So when it comes down, it's not coming down just pushing against air resistance with gravity. It's also maintained some of the kinetic energy from when it was originally shot. It's going parallel with the Earth's surface. So when it comes down roughly like artillery. And while that 9mm or 45 caliber slug might not come down with the same force as you shooting it point blank at someone, I can guarantee you from personal experience and from stories that I can link down in the description that it can come down with enough force to kill someone. I've seen it. I've also seen it go through the roofs of houses. Every year after 4th of July and New Year's, somebody calls because a bullet came through the roof of their house, or went through the top of their car, through the hood of their car, went through the windshield. And if a bullet can go through the roof of a house, or it can go through a windshield, or it can go through the roof of a car or the hood of the car, and have enough force to, embed itself into the seat and into the floor of the car, or come through the roof and embed itself into your couch, it has more than enough energy to kill somebody. Now, rifle bullets, those are leaving at a significantly higher velocity. You're talking about miles of distance you could kill somebody at, so you should be shooting in a direction where you're like, oh, there's nothing over there for miles, and you could still end up killing somebody. You go shoot a 30-06 just off that way at a 30-degree angle. So, I understand the math of Mythbusters was right, and understand what they're saying was technically correct If you shoot a gun straight up in the air, it should not have enough force to kill somebody coming straight back down. Even if you use a very fast bullet. I think they used an M1 Garand. They shot it straight up in the air. Doesn't matter, though. Unless it's straight up, you could still kill somebody doing that. So don't do it. That's your little New Year's Eve PSA. If this is something you normally do, don't. Now, I'm going to go to comments and questions. We're going to leave this up on the board in case anybody has any comments or questions specifically related to this or wants to try to debunk this with another link to something else that's scientifically illiterate or doesn't take into account, parabolic arcs, things like that. I am going to scroll up to the top. We're going to give this a couple of minutes because, honestly, my phone is starting to die. I just came back from the gym. It's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning here. And then we're going to get on our way. Thank you for everybody. If you're new to free field training, there's a link down in the description to my website, the podcast, the Instagram. Please subscribe to me on YouTube. Follow those links. Follow me on the Instagram. Go check out the podcast. There's stuff on the podcast that isn't available on YouTube. There's stuff on Instagram that isn't available on YouTube. There's stuff on YouTube that isn't available on Instagram or their podcasts. So please follow me across those platforms. Rules change with what I can post up in different places. So in order to get everything out there, I have to use multiple platforms. Hi, how are you doing? I'm doing great. What goes up must come down, like duh. Yeah, the thing is, the math of straight up and straight down makes total sense. And I won't argue that, right? Like the physics, I won't argue. It's the practical application of those physics that's the problem. And people aren't seeing the practical application of what's going on. And this is why it's illegal in most states to shoot up in the air. Because it's not safe. Hi from Seattle. Hello from Chicago. In case you didn't know by the things that I get pissed at on New Year's Eve. Hi there. Hello. Abzo YT says, when will you show us your gun collection? I have shooting videos all the time where we're testing products. I really don't have any plans to go through my safe and dig everything out and show it all to you. But as things are applicable, you'll see them. Scott Hockenberry says, thanks for the late night live stream. You're very welcome. Trying to get some content out there that's, not 3 months in the making. And this seemed like something that came up as I was walking into the house that seems like it's something people should know. Coleman Diehuff says, my question is, why do people shoot in the air at all? LOL. The best explanation that I've got from someone that shot up in the air that we ended up arresting was they were airing it out. You got to make sure it works. So you take advantage of the time when there's fireworks going off to shoot it and make sure the thing works. That's a stupid reason. It's like these people have never heard of the woods or under a bridge or like a million other places that are smarter than shooting straight up into the air. The other reason is that it's something that makes a really loud noise that's fun to do, and it's a holiday and people start drinking alcohol and, well, we're going to shoot in the air. Yeah, good idea, Mike, shoot in the air. I mean, we've all been to those parties where people start doing dumb things. You mix a lot of people that are very exuberant with alcohol and firearms, and you get problems. Just like if you do the same thing with cars, you get problems. I'm sure everybody has seen someone who was drunk in a parking lot slam a car into a pole. If not, you've seen a video of it. Soul and JWF says, I just came out of a math final exam just to watch more math. No math. No math. I like my physics math free. If there's math involved, it's probably too complicated to make, an internet video for me with. But the concepts, I assure you, are solid. Feel free to run the numbers yourself. Crack open a physics book. Maybe just, go to another YouTube video about how artillery works. You'd be surprised what you can learn. Hi from New Zealand. Hello. Good morning. Good evening. Big Guy B says, any good stories or stories regarding this? There's bad stories. There was a kid next town over from me. Took a stray bullet and ended up dying. That sucks. That's terrible because somebody doesn't understand not to shoot their gun up in the air. A buddy of mine, before I was a cop, when I was driving a truck, delivering air conditioners and whatnot, he took a bullet through the top of his car, and luckily for him, it was right through the middle of the roof. So what he did is he had an aftermarket moonroof put in. So it turned out all right for him. Cost him about $600 to put the aftermarket moonroof in, but I don't suggest that as a normal course of action. Lots of here's a real big problem people don't think about with this stuff is if you live in a trailer, there is not a whole lot of structure to a trailer. When it's New Year's Eve and it's coming up on midnight, man, I hide under an overhang or a bridge if I can. Like I find somewhere we're gonna park the squad somewhere out of the way so that we don't get the rounds coming down through the roof of the car, through the windshield or something like that. Like it's enough of a problem. And I've been in areas before where I've picked the wrong area and you can hear bullets falling, like whizzing down because people are like, "Oh, the woods are over there. We're gonna shoot over toward there." And now I've got rounds falling down. I got to drive away from it. Not pleasant. Hello from North Korea. Holy crap. Phoenix Petro says, what is another common incident that happens on major holidays? DUI crashes are huge on major holidays, especially like on New Year's Eve into New Year's Day, the early hours of New Year's Day. Fatality DUIs are a huge thing. Lots of domestics on holidays. Apparently, if you put a bunch of people that you can't stand or you can barely stand most of the year together in a room, and you feed them alcohol, and then you involve turkeys and hams and knives, people end up getting stabbed. Not pleasant. Abzo YT says, just use blank rounds. That would be great. I would love if people would start doing that. Not sure if that's legal, but let's throw legality out. Let's just not kill each other. Matt says, the only time I've shot in the air is when I shoot a duck or a goose. Yeah, and you're using a shotgun with like the rounds are made so that they can't come down with enough force to hurt somebody. Like that's the whole idea. And even then, you got to be careful of your backdrop. Jama Isura says, how do you guys know when someone is firing in the air? Well, we have a shot spotter system. That makes it a little easier. There's microphones all over town, and they can triangulate exactly where somebody's at when they're shooting. And if we get there and nothing's shot, then it's pretty clear they were shooting somewhere up. If there's nothing shot in the general down area. Before we had ShotSpotter, the neighbors would call and say, hey, my neighbor's in the backyard shooting, and we get there and they'd be on like the 6th mag of shooting in the air. Very sketchy thing to have to deal with. Sennheiser 1986 says your physics explanation is watertight. I try to be at least moderately scientifically literate. At least a little bit. Michael S. Martinez says hello from Las Vegas, New Mexico. Be safe. Hello. Going to be in Vegas pretty shortly. Torres says, do you get more calls 4th of July or New Year's? 4th of July is like an all-day event and into the next day, and New Year's is just kind of a compressed couple hours that we have problems. So I would have to look at the numbers to be sure, but from my experience, it's definitely 4th of July. 4th of July is like the police anti-holiday. 4th of July and Halloween are some of the worst afternoon shifts I've ever worked. They're not great on midnights either. But that's it. All right, 13 minutes in, little physics lesson, little PSA for everybody. Explain why you shouldn't be doing this, even if people are sending you a link to a video about, hey, no, these guys show that it's not really dangerous. Man, don't do that crap. You're an idiot. You're shooting up in the air on a holiday, man. Legality aside, get fireworks, bang pots and pans together. Take milk jugs, or you take a 2-liter bottle just with air in it and run it over with your car. Still way better than shooting up in the air. All right? See you guys later. Until next week, you guys be safe. Take care of each other.